Alright, so in this video, we're about to attack on Hollywood, and we have a Reinhardt Zarya tank combination, which is really good, and I'm on Zenyatta with a Ana for main heals, so our tank and healing situation is phenomenal. So I see here for our DPS, we have a Widow. An instance when you're playing with a Widowmaker and tanks like this, you kind of want to play it slow and just create space for the Widowmaker, right? All you're trying to do here is keep my Harmony Orbs on priority targets such as my tanks to keep them alive, and to just sit around and charge up right-click volleys and to just get that chip damage in. It's unfortunate here, I didn't realize there was a Hanzo enemy team, so he got a really good shot off on me here. But my team seems to be doing nicely and picking up some of the slacks, so my Widow kind of pops off here and kills 3. And we have a much quicker respawn time than the enemy team, so we definitely want to play aggressive here and we want to get in there as much as possible. So as soon as I see this Zarya and Reinhardt come in, and we had just had both of our main tanks die, I'm going to just back off immediately, which is kind of the right move. So I'm really close to Transcendence, and as I wait for my team, all I want to do here is just charge up right clicks, peek, try to get my Transcendence as quickly as possible for the next fight. It's really the best move. So I decide to discord this Doomfist, who obviously wants to go on the backline, and I call it out in voice. It's a good thing that my Ana was able to heal me there, because otherwise I probably would have died. So here's a pretty big decision-making moment for me. I know that we have a pick on the Doomfist. So we have a 5v6 advantage in our favor, and we've already committed a Nano Boost ultimate in this fight as well. And it looks like that we might just be able to win this on the advantage alone. But it seems like this Transcendence here is really good, right? So I want to use my Transcendence as aggressively as possible to make sure my team is able to engage and have no fear of dying, because the enemy team doesn't have this sort of defensive ult that I do, right? Because they're not running a Zenyatta. And being able to discord and get that Zarya, this is so good. If you see someone in an area like this is the best situation for a Zenyatta, because they have no way to escape, and it's almost guaranteed that your orbs are going to hit her in this small, narrow, tight little, like, area. So you don't miss a single orb whenever an enemy is in that situation, so you always have an advantage over them. And here we're pushing, which is really good, but I feel like my Reinhardt played a little too aggressively there. One of the things that you have to worry about when you're playing as Reinhardt, if your main healer is an Ana, you have to worry the most about line of sight. See, as soon as my Reinhardt is inside this room, Ana has to be in there with him. Otherwise, he's not going to receive any healing except from me. So it's really unfortunate. But see how far and overextended he is? There's no way my Ana could protect him from here. Like, he's way too aggressive. And we didn't have the point yet either, so it's kind of scary. If we overextended too far there, the enemy team might have been able to punish us. At this moment, when we got a pick, the enemy team is deciding to back off. And this is huge, right? So in a moment like this, you really want to have your team push up, especially if you have a Widowmaker. You want to create as much space for Widowmaker so she can get on the high ground, she can start hitting the enemies running away, right? That's the best situation. And I think our Zarya and Doomfist is doing a great job of this. Unfortunately, our Doomfist seems to take a lot of damage from this Moira. And as we can see, this Moira is somewhere in this room. I know it, and their Doomfist knows it, but none of our team knows it either. We have our Widowmaker on the high ground who's concentrating on shooting people who are probably just respawning about now. And our Zarya is alone, and she's out of the loop. Seagull has no idea what's going on over here. So unfortunately, this is a communication error. And this really could have been solved if we just used our voice comms and called out, hey, there's a Moira on that second story. We all need to pressure her, we need to push her. And she used her Fade ability recently, I believe, too, so she didn't have too much of a way to get out. So here the Doomfist is being aggressive. Unfortunately, our Doomfist was rather low. I'm not sure how. Okay, so the Doomfist ult was used by the enemy team, and right now they did not use Graviton. So I know for a fact right now that I don't have Transcendence. The Zarya has a Graviton, right? And I'm still at 54%. But one of the main conditions with their team comp is that they have a Reinhardt to deal damage and swing into the Graviton, or a Doomfist ult in order to use the combo with Grav. Other than that, they don't really have any good combos. And since we just saw Doomfist use his ultimate, their win condition to do enough damage to kill everybody in Graviton is gone. Okay, so we're waiting to group up. Both of our DPS here just staggered, so it's really important that we just wait for them and regroup here. No need to engage without our DPS. They're probably about spawned right now, so my Reinhardt's about ready to go in. Alright, so here we see our Reinhardt, he shatters. This is what's really great about this actually. Our Reinhardt is the only person who's in Grav right now, and that's huge for us. That means that I don't have to worry about my Transcendence usage because he already uses Grav here, meaning I can use Transcendence aggressively from here on out. I dodged the Widow. I'm trying to make sure that the enemy Widow can't shoot me here. Right here, my Reinhardt's pretty dead. There's nothing we can do. Okay, so in this instance right here, this Zarya, we see the Zarya, she has really high energy. I see my Reinhardt already died to an Ana who's back here. And you can also tell that there's a Moira here from the Life Drain beam that's currently on my McCree. So there's two healers back here, which is pretty dangerous for us. And here we have a Zarya who's discorded with really high energy, but I'm going to go ahead and get out of position to try and finish her off, because having a high energy Zarya is extremely dangerous. And with my McCree and flashbang distance like this right here, it should be kind of an easy cleanup, really easy to kill, even though I know that there's two healers over here, right? Should be an easy, clean kill. So I'm going to just focus all of my energy in trying to land some headshots here. She actually has some really good movement. Okay, now this is a really difficult decision for a Zenyatta right here. So I'm going to rewind it a little bit. So basically, I push forward and I commit all the way over here just to kill this Zarya. And I'm completely out of position. And the reason why being out of position is so bad here is because now I see a Doomfist who's about to punch me in my face. And up here on this bridge, we have a Widowmaker who has perfect line of sight on me, and she's about to shoot me in the face. And here on the left, I still know there's an Ana and a Moira. So they have two healers over to the left that could come in and push me, and this Doomfist who's definitely going to push me. And now I have a Widowmaker who just has free line of sight on me. So this is a very bad position. We're outnumbered. We don't have our main tanks. And I have to make a decision here. I have to decide if I'm going to be shooting at this Doomfist who's going to come at me, who's kind of hard to hit. He's very fast and he has the most health. Or I turn around and I try to deal with the healers over here on my left side, right? And that doesn't really seem like it's a very good idea either, because there's two of them, so they're going to keep each other alive. And while I do this, if I don't apply any pressure to this Widowmaker, she won't have to worry about doing anything but just raw mechanics and aiming, right? And if that happens, she's not going to feel any pressure and she's going to just shoot you in the face and probably your McCree in the face really easily. So the best thing to do in this situation, and I do this as well in the clip, is to just go ahead and shoot and apply pressure to Widowmaker while trying to back off to some cover. So I applied Discord to her, I shoot, I put in some fancy footwork, but what I wasn't expecting right there is I wasn't expecting for this Ana to come out of the little corner in the safe area and pushing over here to get me. It was a really good play by the Ana because they had the advantage, and that definitely was the right call for her. So at this time, it's another regroup session. We basically need to regroup as a team and try to push together as a team. I see that our Widowmaker swapped to Genji. It seemed like he didn't have a very fun time in the Widow 1v1. To be fair, we don't have a Winston D.Va dive combo, which is really good on this kind of attack in order to contest Widowmakers. So here, I'm trying to not peek the Widow too much, but I am trying to pressure her by using right-click orbs, just to give my Genji a little extra space. Unfortunately, he gets antied, so it's really difficult. And I focus, see, this is just raw reaction, and this is something that you have to do as Zenyatta a lot, right? You have to try and decide what your Transcendence is good for. This is a decision you have to make. I see my team is pretty low. I see that my Reinhardt gets the... You can actually see my Rein gets nanoed and lands a shatter in this moment. And at this moment, you also see the Doomfist just ready to plow onto me or to the Ana. And if he connects with this ability, both of us are probably going to be dead. And immediately, no heals are going to be applied to the rest of our team, which is something that can't happen. And another big reason why I use the Transcendence here is because I know that the enemy Grav is probably still a while a ways. Now this is just really unfortunate. I'm actually going to rewind this again because it's actually kind of crazy. So He's asleep, and I'm able to use a full right click on him. Somehow those weren't headshots. Even looking back on that, I'm kind of amazed that he didn't die right there. I think I watch it. Yeah, he lives with like 30 health. Really isn't anything you can do about that. I got a little cocky. So something I could have done differently in that situation, I could have applied Discord to him and then right-click volleyed him. I was so confident that I was going to land all those headshots that he was just going to die, I didn't even bother with it. And that ended up being a mistake, but looking back, I'm kind of confused how those weren't headshots, but that's just kind of how it is. In this situation, my team's antied, so I'm just going to focus on keeping my Zarya alive over my Reinhardt, because Ana has line of sight of the Reinhardt. Really good work by McCree there, because there really wasn't anything I could do in order to stop that. Luckily, our team won the fight there, actually. So, while they were focusing on flanking, my Reinhardt actually just went crazy and was able to just kill them all with his hammer and a flame strike by the looks of it. So I'm really happy with my team. Right here, we should be pushing forward more. See, my positioning and McCree's positioning is perfectly aggressive. I'm trying to get right clicks on people that are spawning. I noticed he faded over to the right side, so I know they're on that right side of the wall. Here's something that you should always be doing. If you ever capture a point, you shouldn't just be sitting on the payload like this. You should be pushing forward. You should have a position up here trying to get them so they can't regroup as a team. You don't want the enemy team to recover. You want to get these staggering picks on the enemy team while they're trying to regroup. And we didn't push up right there, which is a big problem. I don't have Transcendence for this grab, which is unfortunate. Luckily, my two tanks kind of survived there. So here, I'm trying to contest the McCree. It didn't really work out for me. Looking back at this, I believe I was calling out in voice comms this entire time. When you have a situation like this, look, the McCree, you can see him. He's there. I know he's there. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to reload, trying to recover, do right clicks. Make sure to put... So if you know who he's shooting at, and you know what his line of sight is, and what is... Because when you're up here on this, you can't hit these targets. So I know he's only able to hit me and the Ana. So it's basically up to me and Ana to stay alive. So instead of healing the tanks, I'm going to go ahead and heal the Ana so that the McCree, if he hits, it's not going to be deadly unless it's like double headshot or something like that. So I'm going to just make sure to keep my Harmony Orb on the Ana at all times in this situation. And then I'm going to try to peek with right clicks as I naturally recover some of my blue shields. See, I'm at full health again. What I wasn't expecting, however, this was actually such a good play by the McCree. He just decided to go for it. He just dove down there. It was actually a really aggressive play, but I like it. It was really good. He gets killed because of it, though. My Genji immediately gets the kill on him afterwards. Unfortunately, we ended up backing off there, which is understandable. We were down some players. And this gives me time to build my ult, and that's all you want to do. As Zenyatta, one of the biggest things that you're trying to do pretty much all the time is to try to build your ult charge as quickly as possible. Your ult is the best defensive ult in the entire game. So here I see McCree is trying to do the same thing again. And this time I'm trying to get him from a different angle. But it looks like he used the same maneuver where he dropped on the Ana. And he unfortunately got my teammate there. I'm going to go ahead and push up because I'm the only one healing. And yet I could see a potential win from this push. We decided to dedicate the grav to it. I used the Transcendence a little too late there. And I'm really sad about that. I hesitated is what the problem was. I hesitated because I wasn't sure if we were able to win that fight. Looking back at it, I think it would have been better to not use Transcendence at all. Considering the enemy team has better respawn times and it was only a Zarya and a McCree there with me, Transcendence kind of lost its value. Another reason why this is so bad is that as you can see on the enemy team, they have a Hanzo now. So now they have another win condition with their Graviton, which means that my Transcendence is even more important than it ever is, really. So, unfortunately, I decided to make the swap here to Brigitte because I kind of wasted Transcendence. So there's almost no chance that I'm going to be able to get another Transcendence. Considering that there's only 14 seconds left in the game, there's no way I'm going to get another Transcendence. So at this point, I kind of give up on the Zenyatta and I just go for Brigitte, someone that can just fight on the point and apply more pressure to the front line. Because it's really just one of the best things you can do in an overtime situation. Zenyatta's really good for his defensive ult, but if you're not able to build it in an overtime situation, it's just not worth it. As we see right here, this is where I really messed up. Because I didn't have Transcendence, they had Grav, they had Dragon Strike, and we effectively lost the game because of that. And so that just shows that my Transcendence play was just so detrimental to it. It's pretty much the big reason why we weren't able to push right there. If I held that Transcendence, we would have lived through that Graviton Dragon Strike combo. So the blame on that one comes down completely to me. You really have to try and keep that in mind, how important your ultimate is. I can't stress enough that even I, as a Grandmaster top 500 player, you'll make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But you need to try and minimize those mistakes. When it comes to a game of Overwatch at the top level, ultimately what happens is whatever team who makes the less mistakes is the one that comes out on top. I know that sounds silly, but really there's so little mistakes that happen, usually in a Grandmaster game or above, that those 1 or 2 extra mistakes in a game can really change the entire thing. So I have a Rein, Ana, Zarya, me on Zenyatta again, which is good. I need to use this defensive ult better. Looks like we have a Tracer, and this guy, we're not sure what he's going to go. Okay, so he picks the Doomfist. So we have like a really divey DPS combo, but we have the standard Rein and Zarya, which is good on this map. This map doesn't really have a whole lot of high ground. Okay, so he decided to swap the Soldier. Soldier is decent on this map. On Hollywood, there's only a few different openings. So if you're in Hollywood, you only have these 2 entrances, really. There's nothing else for you, right? So the only way to get into those 2 entrances, unless you're playing Pharah, if you're playing Pharah, you can maybe go to the sky. But ultimately, there's not a whole lot of areas for you to move around in. So people like they run main tanks, barrier combos. So you want to position yourself up here as Zenyatta for the beginning. It's a really good spot. And then just throw some right clicks. Really unfortunate my Ana went down there. I put the Harmony Orb on her as soon as I could. This Genji tries to dive me. So one of the more important things about when a Genji dives you that I'd like to go over is you want to bait out the reflect as much as possible. And don't hit him until then. So Genjis have very different strategies depending on what rank you're playing. Typically what a Genji will do at a higher rank is they'll dash and melee you first. That is their priority. And what your priority is to go to a health pack. See, I'm already in position on the health pack. You can see that I've already picked one up. I'm at full health. He used a dash and a melee, so I know the dash cooldown is over, right? So that means he can't escape. I mean, I have him right where I want him, and I have the health advantage. And the first thing you always want to do is apply that Discord Orb. So the second thing you want to do is start baiting out the deflect. And the best way to do that is with left clicks. See, I start a left click right there, and he automatically uses the deflect. So now I know he has no cooldowns. He has the Discord Orb. He has no deflect. So basically he's trapped right where I want him, and there's no health pack for him. So at this point when he's deflecting, always charge up a right click. After you bait out that deflect, you charge up a right click, and then he's pretty much just as good as dead. There's nothing he can do about it. Throw in a melee attack as well. He's in close enough range. You have the health advantage. It's the best way to deal with the Genji every single time. This might be different at lower ranks. Some things that work at the lower rank don't always work at the higher rank, and vice versa. So here we're really trapped into our corner, and this is kind of going to be like a lost team fight, and there's nothing we could really do about it. I'm just going to try to get out. I want to make sure that I don't stagger. I'm going to get some more alt click. I'm going to get some more right click damage. Really unfortunate my Doomfist got slept. So again, he dashes in on him. I Discord. I melee. It's so... every time. I had the support from my team here too. Rewind it a little bit too much. So this Genji keeps making mistakes on diving the Zenyatta. He's getting too aggressive. I mean, sure, he has the point. They have the number game. Our Reinhardt's dead. Our Doomfist is dead. But I already have the Discord Orb on him. So him going in like this is a pretty dangerous thing. I mean, when you look at it, there's a Zarya right here. He's gonna bubble me, right? This is a terrible dive by the Genji. I believe there's an Ana somewhere behind me as well. Ultimately, this is a really bad play by the Genji. I get a nice orb on him. I try to melee and Discord him so he gets that amplified damage from the Zarya, who doesn't care about the deflect. And my team just immediately melts him. So we're starting this fight, meaning that we have an advantage. Unfortunately, this enemy Ana is landing some really good anti-grenades, which kind of halts us. Right there, I would have liked for our team to actually push in because we had the pick on the Genji, and we're pretty much I think everybody's grouped up by the Doomfist at this point. So it's actually a really good idea to be aggressive because it's still an even fight, and taking an early fight on the cart is usually good. We have Graviton and Transcendence coming up. That's really unfortunate, actually. Right before the Graviton was going to be called out. I get bodied by the Widow shot right there, and the Ana was able to pick me off. And it looks like we failed that, even though we had a Grav. If I was alive, I would have had my Transcendence, and I could have helped my team, which is really bad. I honestly, looking back at this, I shouldn't have been positioned where I was. I was getting greedy to try and get more right-click damage, but the Widowmaker punishes me for that. See, you have very little to gain when peeking a Widowmaker and everything to lose, right? Because you'll get maybe 5-10% on your ult charge for peeking with those right clicks. Whereas a Widowmaker, she can just get an entire pick, one headshot, especially on a Zenyatta. So in this situation, I'm trying to discord the main tanks, trying to make it so our front line can push in. I was thinking about going in for a little flank there. I used my Transcendence right there to keep my Zarya alive. So this is actually really good timing because the Genji ends up getting a blade and I cancel a lot of the damage from the blade here. I'm going to rewind this so we can watch this. So I see this right there. She gets the nano and she's getting really low. I need to keep my Zarya alive. And also at the exact same moment that happens, the Genji decides to... I don't know if the nano came first for this Genji or if the blade, but I would like to say if you're playing a Genji and you get nanoed, you probably shouldn't use your blade if you know that a Zenyatta just used Transcendence. It's not really worth it. Just because you get nanoed doesn't mean that you have to use your ultimate. He could have just waited it out, you know? I think if I was this Genji, I would have just waited for this Transcendence to end. It really was not a very smart idea because now I'm just going to use Transcendence to heal my Ana up, and she has the heal grenade. Having the heal grenade means that she's just not gonna die. Even with a nano boost, it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna try to save my Rein here. It's really unfortunate because if you were the Genji in this situation, what would have happened? Now you have the enemy Graviton right here, and you could have used your blade to follow it up since there's no Transcendence to save them from the Zenyatta. So the Genji really made a big error right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to discord the Genji as much as I can, even though he gets bubbled. Because I know he's still here, and putting a Discord Orb on the flanker is something you should always look to do. It really applies a lot of pressure, and the Genjis and Tracers absolutely hate Discord Orb. It really is a lot of pain to deal with. So here, I want my team to back off because my Ana's dead. Although we're kind of winning the fight, we're just getting slowly chipped down the health. My Harmony Orb just isn't enough to save everybody. There's too many targets to heal. Luckily, my Ana came back. So now I don't have to worry too much about it. So now I'm at 60% ult charge, and my next priority is, again, to just get my Transcendence again. Because that Genji Blade and that Graviton, I want to make sure that I can cancel it. Those are two very big win conditions for the enemy team. And my Transcendence completely cancels it. It's even with the Nano Boost, if an Ana gets a grenade off, it just doesn't matter. So that bubble was so good by the enemy Zarya. This angle is really bad. See, here's the big issue with this Grav, is that we have nothing to combo it with. So they just freely walk out of the Graviton. There was no damage. We had no Pulse Bomb. We had no Doomfist. We didn't get an anti-grenade, and it wasn't a good enough angle for me to try and orb them. I got my Transcendence now. I don't have to worry too much about doing too much right-click damage, so I'm not going to look to fight. Actually, I remember this. This was crazy. I had 60 health. I was just waiting for shields to come back. He bodies me twice and was like, okay, I'm just going to wait for my shields to come back. Bam. He throws a long one into me. It was actually really amazing. I have no problems with that. That Ana is really good. I have nothing but compliments for him. I did exactly what I tried to do. I would have liked to use Transcendence there, but again, these anti-grenades coming out from the Ana are just insane. It's preventing us from keeping anybody alive. So I hear the blade. Immediately when you hear a blade, just... As a Zenyatta player, you just always use Transcendence as soon as you hear that. That sound is so recognizable for you. So here I'm going to push forward. We're getting a lot of good damage in on them. My Transcendence canceled a lot of their damage. Unfortunately, my Doomfist dies again, but we swapped our Tracer to the McCree, which is really good. It does a lot of raw damage, and it's going to help stop that
that Genji. So I see that Sonic era right there. It's pretty recognizable. You can tell the difference between a Sonic era and a regular era pretty easily. Right there. So the biggest thing that you can tell is that they had these little rings around them. And if you see that, you just run. You hightail it out of there. There's nothing you're going to do about it. So I'm still trying to build this Transcendence. It's really important that I do. I'm pretty sure they're coming up on a Dragon Strike. There's the Graviton. So at this point, we're very overwhelmed. And ultimately, we're going to lose because I mismanaged it a little bit. I tried to use my Transcendence as much as I could in order to save my team. But ultimately, that was the downfall, right? You need to use your ultimate wisely. Especially if you're playing Zenyatta. It's the biggest defensive cooldown in the game, if not the strongest and most important ability. And it's pretty much why everybody loves Zenyatta. You're able to stop these game-changing combos that would otherwise just team wipe you. Things like Dragon Strike, especially Dragon Blade. The Genji and Hanzo brothers love to do that. It's really unfortunate. I wasn't even close to my Transcendence. I'm at 47%. One thing you should take away from this game is just every single fight you take is a fight in order to get more ult charge, because you need it so much more. Ultimately, it came to a defeat, but I think I learned a lot from this game myself, and I hope you guys learned something too. Thank you for sticking around and watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and share this video with your friends. I'll see you next time.